All right. Welcome to the District 191 Legislative Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 13th. I'm Scott Hume. I'm the board member who is chairing tonight's meeting. Our regular chair is out sick today, but she asked me to take over for her. So here I am. I think we'll just start with very quickly with introductions. Anna, do you want to just tell Senator Pratt who you are?
Yep, sure. I'm Anna Werb. I'm new, actually. I mentioned that I am new to the board this year.
I can introduce myself next. I'm Aaron Tinklenberg, the school district's communications director.
And I'm Lisa Ryder, executive director of business services.
All right. So welcome, Senator Pratt. We are glad you were able to join us today. Typically, when we have one of our state senators or representatives come to our meetings, it's just a very informal opportunity for us to talk a little bit about the district, for you to ask any questions you have about the district, anything that you've heard from your constituents about the district, or any questions you might have, things like that. So we don't have a very long prepared agenda, which it sounds like is probably a good thing given your schedule today. So maybe we'll just jump right into it. Aaron, are you able to share the legislative platform document?
Yep, absolutely. I'll pull that up right now. And I know I believe it got emailed to Senator Pratt earlier today as well, or maybe yesterday.
Okay, great. So maybe you've already seen this, but this is a document that our legislative committee created earlier this year to kind of outline what we saw as, obviously there are many different educational priorities across the state and across districts in the state. So looking at some of the priorities that have been identified by MSBA or by AMSD, we took the ones that we felt were most impactful on 191. And so that's what we have in this legislative platform document, which it sounds like you probably have a copy of, but I'll just quickly go through it. And then certainly if you have any questions, I don't know if have you seen this? Have you had a chance to take a look at it?
I haven't. I had the jobs omnibus bill up today in finance, and then trust me, I haven't had a chance to check email all day. It's just been that kind of day.
No worries. Just didn't want to be repetitive if you've already seen it. So no worries. So the things that we had identified for our district that would have the biggest impact on our students are increasing the per pupil funding by 2% per year in the budget cycle that is being negotiated currently. Reducing the cross subsidy for special education and English learning, which I'm sure you are familiar with the cross subsidy situation that we have and that I think most districts across the state have. Providing targeted funding to increase the diversity among teachers. That's certainly something that's been a priority in our district for a number of years and continues to be as we look to be able to hire and retain the best possible teachers in the district. And then the fourth piece is something that we are already aware that we're going to have to put off until next year, is providing a legislative exemption to allow for us to have local control on proceeds from some of the properties that we are looking to potentially sell. We have some properties in the district that we are looking to sell, and we are wanting the legislative exemption so that we can use some of the funds for that to go towards our general fund. But due to timing and the number of bills that were introduced this year, we found out a week or two ago that was going to have to be put off for another year. So that will continue to be a priority, but for 2022 at this point. What questions do you have? I know you're the part of the state that you represent includes a pretty small corner of 191, but have you heard much from your constituents about 191 or? do you have what questions might you have for us? Either about 191 in general or about any of the 4 priorities I just mentioned to you. Oh, did we lose him? Oh, there he is. Hey, video and everything.
For a second. You know, I didn't even know I had any of 191 in my in my district. I know I've got a little bit of Lakeville, but mostly Shakopee,
Right.
Prior Lake, Jordan, is pretty much where everything is. So I don't even know where my corner of 191 would be, because I really don't have any of Savage. But
there's
you know,
a
that
small
said,
corner of Shakopee that is in 191. So I think that's.
is it really? Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's always a surprise when people find that out. It was a surprise to me when I found out a few years ago.
So anyway, well, good. Well, then I'm not the only one that was surprised. So no, I don't hear anything about 191. You know, having been a former school board member, having served on the MervSec board for a couple of years, you know, I certainly appreciate, and quite honestly, having been treasurer of the school board, and helping Prior Lake overcome a $1 million deficit, you know, special education was always one of those pieces that
You muted.
You muted.
sorry, I was trying to trying to move my little Zoom screen here. Sorry.
Oh, we've all been there. You said something about special education before you cut out.
Yeah. So I served on the MervSec board as treasurer when we were coming out of $1 million deficit. Special education was an area that I worked on because it was so hard to forecast. You know, it was about 11% of our students, but about 23% of our expense. And, you know, we had we had challenges there. A couple of years ago, when I was chair of the Education Policy Committee, we worked on a number of ideas that were put forward by New Ulm predominantly that would help save, reduce the paperwork, reduce the mandates in special education without necessarily hurting the service that we give to the kids. You know, I can, and I mean, we were talking significant time, like, 35 hours per teacher per student every year, you know? So, figure if a teacher has 20 students, you're talking about 700 hours a year in time savings. And, you know, some of those moved forward, but some of the big ones really didn't. Predominantly decoupling the functional behavioral assessment from the IEP. And, you know, quite honestly, we had support from the Minnesota School Boards Association, and the special education administrators, certainly the New Ulm district, but even though this idea came from, you know, teachers and on the front line, we didn't get a lot of support from schools themselves. You know, I will, and you know, certainly not from Education Minnesota. They sat on the sideline, which I think really hurt the progress of that. You know, since I've been in the Senate, I've voted for at least a 2% increase every year. We've kept up with inflation. We've kept up inflation since, you know, pretty much my my third year in the Senate. And, you know, that's something that's extremely important to me. We have inflationary costs in our school districts. You know, I'm actually trying to get some information because we've put, even though it hasn't all gone to the formula, there's been a lot of money put into education. Unfortunately, I think we need to refocus on the core mission of education. so much of our money goes to other areas. And, one I would say, and it's maybe a little bit controversial, is the voluntary pre-K. And I don't know if 191 is a part of that or not. But, those are monies that we could be putting towards early learning scholarships. And the money follows the kids. And I have an interest in making sure that we get quality pre-K to families that can't afford it, and for families that can afford quality pre-K, that that they be able to take that up. I haven't been on the education committee now for a couple of years, so I feel a little bit out of sorts on some of the topics, but happy to see your proposal, and we'll certainly keep it in mind as I talk to the education chair.
We appreciate that. A lot going on for sure.
Yeah. Any questions for me?
Anna, do you have any questions or anything you want to ask about?
Not that I can think of right now.
All
I
right.
did such a good job of explaining it. I answered all your questions before you asked.
Well, we know you have limited time, so we want to respect that also.
Right.
All right.
Don't want you to be late to your meeting, to get back to your meeting.
All right. Well, guys, thank you. And I'm sorry that I had to cut this short, but know that if there's anything you ever need, feel free to give me a call.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to
Thank
meet
you.
with us. All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. And with that, I guess, was there anything else we were going to talk about tonight? There was an update of our bill at the state, but I think Dr. Battle has given us that update. So the update is that it's not happening until next year,
Right.
unless there's more of an update that I'm not aware of, but that's the only update I recall.
I thought it wasn't that it was happening next year. I thought it was opportunity for at a later session.
Well, I'm assuming that means next year. It's not happening this year. Her
Oh,
message did say it would not be happening. It didn't make the deadline to
oh,
make, like it didn't make the cut for the 2021 session.
Yeah, and
So
if they
future
hold a-
session means 2022 or beyond.
yeah. If they hold
To this
another
point.
session this year, it would probably be a special session and they'd have real limited focus. So
Exactly. Like
got
all
it.
the special sessions related to COVID they had last summer and fall. And if they don't meet the budget by the deadline, then they would have to have a special session for that based on other years.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, if there is nothing else, then I guess we are having a very short meeting tonight. Enjoy
works
that
out.
extra time in your evening. Thanks, everyone.
thank you.